When your clients are in side-lying footwork, we'll start in the same type of progression that you would start with your normal footwork. So you would want your client to first have their heel on the bar. Once they graduate and they can do all of that movement with their heel on the bar, then you would move to the arch of the foot on the bar, and then the toe on the bar. So the same type of progression happens with side-lying footwork as happens with footwork when they're on their backs. So we'll have our client put her foot on the bar with her heel on the bar and her toes hanging 5, with her foot parallel. Good. So on this one, oftentimes your clients will be slightly uncomfortable trying to keep the carriage at a starting stopping position. So they're more than welcome to tuck their bottom knee into their chest. Good. And making sure that they're not letting their bottom foot hook on any part of the machine as they go in and out. As we progress on with the exercises, we'll let her have a couple of different options with that lower foot, but for now we're going to keep it right here. Making sure as she has the carriage in the stopper, the foot is in a nice parallel position, there we go, with the knee, and the knee is staying right outside of the hip. We have one red spring on for this footwork. She'll go ahead and bring her carriage out and then back in. As your client's bringing her carriage back in, what's happening with the shoulders? Is she keeping the shoulders down with her rib cage in and keeping her back nice and long? You'll go ahead and go out 3 more times for me, and we'll keep our eye on all of those different points. Shoulder, ribs, spinal positioning, checking her hip, checking her knee. How is it tracking in line with her ankle and foot? She would need to bring her knee up just a tiny bit. Wonderful. Good. On this last one, stay here. I'll have you turn your foot out and your knee out so that your toe faces the ceiling. Good, and we'll do the same thing here. This should be a little more simple for your clients. It helps you open your hip up a little more and give you a little bit more room to come in and out. Again, keeping shoulder down, rib cage in a neutral position. Good. And as she comes in and out with her external rotation, you would want to make sure that they didn't recline back too much. So really quickly, let me have you be a bad client. Recline back. Good. That's what you would want to avoid. Wonderful. Back in this position, we're now going to turn your foot in. And this will probably be a difficult position for clients that have any sort of knee or hip issues. So you'd want to make sure that they had nice, strong knee, hips, and ankles before you let them go into this position. Does this feel okay with your body? Mm-hmm. Good. So go ahead and bring yourself out and back in. And then again, anytime we check the position, something changes with the rest of the body. So you saw her shoulder responded by coming up. She did a great job by fixing that, bringing it back down, and then her rib cage stayed weaved in as well. On this last one, you'll come back in and keep the carriage at the stopper. Wonderful. And then we're going to move the foot position. So now she's got the center of her foot on the bar. Bring your leg back just a bit. So this will be a little bit more difficult. As you bring your foot back a little bit more, it changes the angle that your knee and ankle are. So as you bring the carriage in, it's hard and it's more difficult to keep the carriage at the stopper. She's holding on to the spot of her cheeks where she can feel the most work. So just to keep this here, it's kind of some work for you, isn't it? Yeah. Good, so keep this part activated. And we're gonna keep the knee in a neutral position. The center of her foot is now on the bar. Good, as you bring your foot in and out, or leg in and out. Good. As she brings her leg in and out, again, we would watch the tracking of her foot, making sure that she stays in dorsiflexion at her ankle the entire time. Good. And then again, checking all of our points. Shoulders, ribs, elongation through the back and spine. And then as she comes in, the knee is tracking right over the foot and right under the hip. Wonderful. Let me have you turn out, bringing your toe to the ceiling. Good, and again, this is one that feels nice for her body, but we have to make sure she doesn't adjust by reclining back. Go ahead and bring yourself in and out here. Good. If you felt like they were good at this position, what you'd want to do is make sure that they had a nice stable torso by giving them a tiny bit of a push here, and as you can see, she has to use her belly as a braking mechanism so that she doesn't fall forward. It works out nicely because she's my sister, so I don't mind shoving her around a little bit. Don't shove your clients this aggressively. Just a little bit of a push is enough. Good. Bring yourself all the way in. And now let me have you turn your toe down. Good. And bring your foot out just a bit more so we're staying on the arch of the foot. We'll try this here. Wonderful. Again, shoulder looks nice. Ribs are in. Back is nice and long. All right, on this next one, she'll stay all the way in. Good. And let's bring the foot all the way back so now the toes are on the bar. As the toes are on the bar, you see that the heel wants to come up. So play around with this one and make sure that you're not letting your clients move their foot so far back that their heel strikes up. So maybe with our client here, I might have her bring her toes just a bit off the edge, and this is as far back as her body wants to go. Do you feel that difference? Mm-hmm. Good. So bring your knee down just a bit more. Wonderful. And then push yourself in and out here. So as an instructor, I'm watching how her heel is wanting to strike as she brings her carriage all the way in. And then again, just like we were doing before, this footwork is to help increase mobility through her ankle joint. So as she comes all the way down, the goal would be for her to come down more and more and more each time without letting the heel strike up. So that way she got more flexibility in her ankle joint. For an extra challenge, we would have her stay on the side here and now unfold the bottom leg, keeping the carriage in. So at this point, you would want to ask your client which position felt most comfortable so that they could keep the carriage in while still maintaining the position in their hip. So I would say the foot about halfway through was probably where you were best there. Good. And the bottom leg stays straight out on this one. Carriage stays in. So we're going to do a little bit of abduction, adduction here. Without letting the carriage move, bring your bottom leg up to your top leg. Good, and then back down. Did you feel the carriage move? Mm-hmm. So maybe your toes need to cinch off a little bit more. There we go. Back is nice and straight. Ribs are in, and bottom to top. Good. So this work falls in line with your lower body and side body work, but oftentimes we like to move this in with our footwork. We get a little bit of abduction, adduction work, getting those hips nice and warm, ready for the next portion of your exercise. Wonderful. Bring it in.